Shen is next. Louie is an entrepreneur and a longtime activist for the local Asian American community. He was the organizer of a Stop Asian Hate rally just over the border in Melbourne, and in his role as a member of the Melbourne Board of Education, he strives for high-quality public education for all. Give it up for Louie.
Hello everyone, very happy and honored to be here. First of all, I want to give a big thank you to the Springfield Unity Project for organizing this event. I've been to several anti-Asian rallies in the past few weeks, and certainly there have been a lot of events all over the country. But most of them are organized by Asian American individuals and organizations, which is natural because when you have a bully bullying you, you want to stand up to them yourself. That's what we tell our kids to do. If you don't fight for yourself, apparently other people are gonna have a hard time to fight for you. However, it can get a little bit lonely when you're only fighting by yourself. So again, thank you so much for organizing this event, for stepping forward and raising that courageous voice in an ever more chaotic world.
Yes.
Yes. And this world is quite different now. Sometimes it's unrecognizable to me. I came to America thinking it is the most beautiful country on earth. That's what my mother told me. I came when I was 15 years old. Never would I imagine I would feel this much new emotion living in the suburbs of New Jersey. This new emotion is called fear. In the past half year, anti-Asian crimes have skyrocketed after every week, after every month. What we're talking about are not crimes where you go on the street and people call your names. Right? I think a lot of us have experienced that. You get into an argument, people will say crazy things. Right? You're not going to call the police and stop your life for half an hour arguing back and forth, cursing each other out. So you go home, you say, oh, I met this guy, somehow he just called me like a racial term. Too bad I didn't call him a worse term. You come home, you're a little bit upset. But you're not going to report to the police. So that's not a crime when we think about it. The crime we're talking about is when your grandma goes on the street and a stranger comes out and punch her in the face. The crime I'm talking about is your grandfather go on the street and people shove him to the street, shove him to the pavement, step on him. The crime I'm talking about is you walk your dog in the neighborhood you love for the past 20 years, and then you get stabbed. The crime I'm talking about is when you go to a spa for work, thinking about today you're gonna give someone a nice facial, talk to someone, and then you think about the birthday you're gonna celebrate tomorrow, then you get shot. Stop that. Those are the crimes we talk about. And guess what? Some of those crimes are not considered hate crimes because the spokesperson for the police officer there will say, the guy just had a bad day.
Yes.
No. We can't live with that anymore. And think about, I have to say, this fear is something I never expect to experience before. Right? So we are very involved as Asian Americans in our own town, Melbourne Township. We have a great relationship with the local officers, the police officers, and the fire people. So during the pandemic, we did a major donation drive to donate PPPs, right, and masks and the protection gear to the local first aid squad, police officers, and firemen. And the police chief, he reached out to me and he said, Louie, I want you to get a message through to your Chinese American community. There's no need to apply for that many gun permits. I was shocked. Asian Americans, collectively, if you talk to them, not too many of them are in love with guns. But he said the permit application is at such a level, he has not enough staff to approve the permits for 2.5 months. That's the level of fear people feel.
Yeah.
Do you feel better if I talk to you this way or without this?
Save your voice.
You know what? I'll just do without it.
Yeah.
Can you hear me from the back row? All right, so one of my fellow organizers, James Liu, we organized the anti-Asian rally the other day. Then after that, he said, I just bought a pack of pepper sprays, and I'm giving them out to my wife and to anyone who needs it. And I have to say, I had this conversation with my own wife, myself. I said, should we apply for a gun permit? If anybody knows me, I've been a big proponent for gun control. But let me tell you, if I truly feel my family is just not safe, no ideology is going to stop me from going all the way to protect my family. But I don't want to live with that. I don't want to make that choice. I want to go out there and feel safe for my wife and for my kids. So this community is feeling a lot of fear. And out of that fear, we also feel angry. Because why are these people hating us, blaming us for something we've never done?
Yeah.
Right? When we think about the Asian American community, all right, even among friends we joke about it. All right, he's a little bit dorky. That's okay. All right? He's too quiet. Right? These guys work so hard. What is wrong about working so hard? What is wrong about going to school and studying math a little bit too hard?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And when I first came to this country, I was a teenager. I wasn't proud of my mom, I have to admit, back then. I tried to look a little bit cooler. I once dyed my hair exactly like him. That's a good style. That's how it was on my hair. but one day, this shows you bigotry doesn't just come from cut along race lines. I was hanging out with some fellow Chinese American immigrant boys, and they called some new students FOBs, fresh off the boats, a term Angus just referred to. That happens everywhere. That woke me up. I'm like, you look the same. Your parents are all the same. So now you feel you're better than them because you came a couple years earlier? Is that what America is all about? You are more American because you come a little bit earlier? Because your parents, your great-parents, your grandparents came a little bit earlier? Is that all there is? No, I said no. I knew that's not the case. So of course I started reading. I can't find an answer right away because not too many people will have that conversation with me. I think a lot of this hate and anger toward Asian American is from people who think there's a certain way of being American. Right? I love football and hamburgers, but is that the only way of being American? You know it. That's right.
Yes.
What's wrong with having a little bit of sushi and fried chicken, right? And the thing is, I started reading in college. I go back to Kennedy. He never said there's one way of being an American. That's why he became the first Catholic American president. I went back to FDR. He never said there's one way of being an American. That's why he offered a New Deal to pull the country out of financial ruin. I went back to Lincoln. He never said there's one way to be an American. That's why he freed the slaves. I went back to our founding fathers. Nobody ever talked about you have to be one way to be an American. They wanted to establish a new country that was different from anything that came before. And guess what the founding father said? My second son, who's a boy, right? Apparently, and his name is Madison. Right? So people ask me, why did I name him Madison? Because I said, I like James Madison. Our founding father, he said, tyranny and oppression will come to this land in the disguise of fighting a foreign enemy. So people use scapegoats throughout history to escape from their own problems. The fault does not lie with the new people. The fault lies with the people who are stuck in the past. Let's go back even further. Let's go back to those first immigrants to the new continent, those pilgrims on the boat. What did John Winthrop say to them? He said, for we must consider that we shall be a house upon a hill. For all the eyes of the world are upon us. We shall be made of a story and a byword through the world. What do they want to establish? A house upon a hill that's different from every other house in the world. This house is not based on a foundation of racial uniformity. This house is built on a foundation of ideas, a set of values, the value of acceptance of different culture, different kind of people, different ideas, a foundation of tolerance. That's what they try to build. This house is not made of bricks from machine cut, same kind, boring little kind of bricks. This house is built with bricks that are hand carried by the immigrants from all over the world. Each brick holds a unique vision of the American dream. It's this multitude of dreams brought together that makes this house shine, that makes this house colorful, that makes this house vibrant. So today, as a proud Asian American, as a proud Chinese American, I say let's keep building that house. It is not us that is causing the problem. It is those people who think the house is finished. They don't want new layers anymore. They don't want a bricks of another color. It is them who needs to learn the way of their forefathers and the pioneers, the true American spirit from us. So today, please, I invite all of you to build this house with me. We're going to use whatever we can. We're going to talk about it on the internet. We're going to reach out on Facebook, on Twitter, talk to our friends, talk to our children so they can be proud of who they are and be proud of who their parents are. We're going to work with police officers, law enforcement, and judicial. And we're going to participate in the democratic process of getting the people who identify with our values to be in office. We're going to donate to organizations who are making these events, such as the Springfield Unity Project. And together, not only are we going to build this house, we're also going to protect this great house we call the United States of America. Thank you.